Well,
norms.
for instance, when you were talking about your Instagram, you were saying this is empowerment, and I
For
guess
me.
if we swap it out, the question is asking, where do you get the notion that your individual sense of empowerment is more is basically more imperative, more important than a collective standards for what behaviors are and should be in society?
I never said it was. It
What?
just is. I never said my perspective and what I'm showing on my Instagram is more important than.
Well, you did in a way, because if we transported you into a Muslim nation and you said you were Muslim, certainly if you maintain the position you have tonight, you would be going against what the question asked, the established norms and traditions of the society.
And I would bet every person in that Muslim nation has a specific sin, and they would also be going against Islamic law in some way, shape, or form.
Well, would they correct it or not? They wouldn't keep doing it, though. Like, that's the difference we came up with, was that the difference is between people, if they call themselves religious, whatever it be, if there's some sort of corrective aspect of the religion, they're to say you're practicing it correctly is to say that you're self-correcting or you're going to correct something.
I never said I was practicing it correctly. There are Muslims who still call themselves Muslims who did not fast at all during Ramadan. There are Muslims right after Ramadan who went right back to drinking.
But would they say it's empowering?
Depends. I don't know.
But that's the difference we're talking about, is like those people, if you ask them, were you being a good Muslim during Ramadan? They might say no. But they wouldn't say, well, no, but it was empowering. I'm empowered.
I feel empowered because that's how I feel. But as I stated, it's not right.
Right. Well, that's the answer to the question. If the question was, why is it you, where did you get this notion that your preferences and urges and wants and needs are better than whatever the collective is that you're in contrast to, in this case, Islam? The answer to the question to the person who sent in the chat is, I just basically want what I want. I want to follow what empowers me, and that's it. You're following yourself, right?
I think, well, yes, to your last point. But also, I think what I'm disagreeing with in terms of the question is the better part. Like, I never said it was better.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess when he's saying better, he might mean takes precedent over. Would you say that your idea of empowerment at this moment, your concept of empowerment, is more important? You're putting it as a priority over, let's say, an Islam perspective of what empowerment is. You're valuing your concept of it above Islam's, right?
Valuing?
Yeah.
See, it's the word selection that's throwing me off.
What are you following? Which one are you putting up more on a pedestal?
Look,
yours or Islam's?
I'm going to end this discussion with this. I'm a revert, and so in being a revert, there were things I was already struggling with prior to becoming Muslim, and I'm working through those struggles and those sins, however it is I'm choosing to work through them. And if posting pictures is a part of that, then it's a part of that. And I'm not going to sit up here and not take accountability and ownership over what it is that's on my page.
Right. So it's going to be by your standards that you're even
It's going to be
correcting.
what Allah wrote.
What he wrote. Yeah. So, well, he already wrote that you're taking those pictures. So
Just like he wrote for you to ask me these questions.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If I was Islamic, I should just be quiet because the questions were already answered, right? Now, I mean, for someone else to answer their question, it's a good question because this applies to men as well, is that if you are in a system that's ordered, let's say they have some standard for ethics, decency, public decency, how you ought to talk to people, not talk to people. If someone said, well, I just disagree with it all and I'm just going to reject it, how would you guys determine whether that's like empowering or good, like are they being bold, like, or is it more valuable to actually follow rules in society?
Intention. What's the intention behind it?
I mean, how would that matter if the actions, like if an action crosses a line in a society, like if someone's a nudist and they go to some place that's public and there's children and they just get a raging erection. Like, if you said their intention mattered and not the action, if I said, should we use force to eliminate, take that guy off of the streets? And you said, well, it depends on our intention. You wouldn't say that, right?
I also stated that some sins are worse than others.
I'm not
So
talking about the
if
scale
you're-
of sin. I'm saying if your measurement is intention, I just gave you an example where intention wouldn't matter, right? In that instance, right?
If you're harming others, no, intention doesn't matter.
Well, no, he's not. Just like your ass is out, it just happens to be his penis. It's
No,
the same.
you
It's a
can't-
part of the body. No, it's a part of the body. How
But
is it
I'm
different?
not. I don't even know if I can't say this on stream. But
Just use
if,
a code.
If I am self gratifying myself online,
No.
you can't do that.
No. Who said you're doing anything about it? Getting an erection is a natural thing that happens. You're not doing anything.
No.
It's like yawning.
No, it's not like
Yeah,
yawning.
it is. It's like waking up and yawning.
Okay, but a normal person would hide their erection immediately.
A normal person, from my view, would hide their ass.
Would they?
Yeah.
There's a lot
In
of
public.
ass cheeks about to be out.
Yeah.
It's about to be summer.
I know.
There's going to be a
I
lot of
know.
ass cheeks.
And
on
no.
Aren't we close to a campus?
I'm saying
Shout out to
what I'm saying
UC
is the
Santa
intention.
Barbara.
The intention can't be the determining factor, because if someone just happens to get an erection in public and they just happen to be a nudist, right? They're just like you. They just have less clothes.
Just like me.
Yeah.
Don't you
you're
dare compare
it's a type
me.
of it's a type of nudist.
So what is your intention then?
What?
What is your intention? When we're talking about intention, what is your intention by posting those pictures?
We already touched on that. I said I'm empowering myself as a woman based on what I went through prior to me getting married, me becoming Muslim, and all that stuff. All that plays a role. Just because you revert into Islam or whatever religion doesn't eliminate, as you stated, the sins and things you did prior to,
Okay.
right? So,
All right. So, are you a mother yet?
no, I'm not.
Do you want to be a mother?
I'm not answering that.
Oh my gosh. So okay.
Wait, hold on. What? Why would you not answer that?
Because if I say no, I don't want to be a mother, and Allah wrote for me to have a child, I'm going to feel bad.
That's
that this was
impossible. Well,
just
recorded.
answer the. What?
It's not impossible.
It's logically
There's
impossible,
a lot of
what you just said.
women that have children that did not want to have children.
Logically impossible what you said from your Muslim view. If Allah wrote that you're going to have kids, He just simply wrote that you're saying you don't want them right now. That's it. It doesn't change anything from your view.
But he didn't write that. He wrote for me to say, I don't know.
Yeah,
Or I don't
that's
wanna answer
fine.
that.
So if He wrote that,
You will make a great politician.
I feel like this is how Christian
I think-
conversation started.
okay. So this is the
That's
problem with this is what I'm trying to attack here is that if you let's hypothetically say you had a child and they were a female, right?
Mm-hmm.
At what age would you teach them that showing their body is empowering?
What age? I would teach them at all ages to be comfortable with who they are and how they go about doing that. I'm not going to judge them.
Okay.
As long as they're not harming anyone or breaking the
Okay,
law.
if they came to you and said, "Mom, your pictures online, I just found them on accident. Some kid in the class actually brought them up in class.
Mm-hmm.
That harms me." Are you going to listen, or are you going to say, "Oh, sweetheart, you just don't understand. I'm empowered."
I would say that those pictures are how I chose to express myself. That's what I
And
would say.
the kid, the daughter or son says, "Mommy."
And just to clarify, I have to say this, just to clarify, because you're taking the pictures too far. I don't
No, I'm
have, I don't do sex work. I don't have any OnlyFans, and anybody who does, I have nothing against them, but that's not something I do.
Great.
I have sensual photos online that do go along with my poetry.
I'm taking your standard, right, by the way, and not other people's. And doing what you do, I'm asking you a direct question. If you tell that to your own kid that that's empowering, right?
I didn't say I'd say that. I would tell them that that's how I chose to express myself.
Okay, and then they say, "Mommy, how you're continuing to express yourself hurts me."
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to respond to that, or just say, "Well, no, I'm empowered"?
I'd take that into consideration.
Okay.
Because you should care about that. That's honestly, when you ask me if I want to be a mother, I'm thinking about that when I'm thinking about children. I'm thinking about the fact that you have to consider someone else's feelings and emotions and all of that. Fortunately,
But not
I'm
what
not in
Allah
that
says.
position
But not
right
what
now.
Allah says. So your opinion,
Allah hasn't come down and talked to me about my
Your
Instagram.
a kid's opinion, in your own view, you are declared a Muslim, right? That's what you say.
Yeah.
You're saying
La
that your
ilaha
own kid's
illallah.
opinion, saying this is wrong, I don't like this, mommy, is actually it takes precedent over your own God's view of it.
No, because I've never had a direct conversation with Allah about my Instagram.
So you've never had a direct conversation that Islam is true either from Allah.
How would you know that?
What do you mean? When did Allah tell you you choose Islam?
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't know my spiritual experiences.
I never said I did, but your standard is if Allah has to talk to me directly to tell me something's wrong, then Allah would necessarily have to talk to you directly to know that Islam's true. Otherwise, why are you following it?
And maybe that happens.
Certain down the road.
All right.